What's going on, you guys? It's Cody Steck. Welcome back to another video. Today we're going to do a deep dive analysis on Square and why I think this might be one of the best stock purchases for 2021. We're going to talk about why this is such a safe bet given the market cap that it has and the future growth potential that it has as well, with the ability to maybe 2 or 3x over the next year, maybe 2 years. So we're actually going to divide this video up into 3 different sections. First, we're going to talk about where the share price is at today. We're going to take a look at Webull here on my computer, and we're going to talk about where the share price has been in the past and where it's at now and where it may go in the future. Then next, we're going to talk about why I think the share price will continue to rise and why it could rise very quickly over the year of 2021. And then third, we're going to look at their financials, see where they're at, and see what's happening on that side of things as well. So without further ado, let's jump right into it. Okay guys, so we're going to jump into my computer here. We are looking at the Webull platform, which by the way, if you haven't gotten your stocks yet, make sure to do that by using the link in the description below. You're going to open an account, deposit $100, and you're going to get some free shares for doing that. Now, looking at Square here, I want to first zoom out a little bit and just kind of look at this and how it's blown up just this year. So if you look at 2019, it traded mostly flat, somewhere between, maybe $52 on the low end and up to $80 on the high end, mostly flat. We had the pandemic, it dropped all the way to $38. Man, I wish I would have got some shares there. And then it did come up and, bounced back pretty quickly actually to the $60 mark. And then it's just been, basically parabolic from there to the moon, right? So looking at this short term, let's actually take a look at this. Let's zoom in here. I want to look at the daily chart. And the thing that I want to point out here is that you can see how it has moved over the last little bit. So we've kind of gotten over this $200 mark for the share price, and now it's sitting at roughly that mark. So we did go up to about 213, down to 201, jumped all the way up to 241, came back down to about 215, up again, and then now we are down again as well. So looking at this, you can see that there's a line right here that you can see where you're going to have some support as well as resistance. Of course, it was a resistance line at first, and now it's acting as a support line. So I don't see it dropping below this like 210 mark. It could, if it does, that's something we definitely need to look out for, but I don't see that happening with the, I think there's going to be a lot of buyers who will step up and actually buy it if it does drop to that price. Again, I bought some shares last time it did that here at the end of December. So that was a really great thing for me, and I was really excited about that to get a couple more shares at that low price. So I also bought some additional shares today, and I also bought some call options as well that are priced out. I've got 2 different options, one that's a little bit sooner and then one that's priced out until next year. So I think there's a lot of potential for this share, this stock price to basically rebound and go all the way up to this 240, maybe even up to 250 mark as we go into February. So that's what the share price has done today. This is why I'm picking up additional shares today. It's dropped 3%, almost 3% today, and is kind of hovering there. So that kind of shows you where the share price is at, and I think it is going to rebound. It could possibly drop more. If it drops below 215, if it comes down to 210, I'm definitely going to be buying some more shares, maybe even another call option, just because I believe that there's a lot of long-term growth. So now that we've talked about that, let's actually talk about why I think Square is going to have a very successful 2021. I think the share price could continue to go up higher and higher. At the current share price, the market cap is sitting around 100 billion, and I honestly think this is a company that could be worth 150, 200, maybe even 250 billion here in the next couple of years. So definitely a good investment for me, in my own opinion. I think the first reason being that we're going to see a really good year for Square is that we now have a new president in office, and now we have a one-party led Senate and Congress. So what that means for this company in particular is that there's going to be a very high likelihood that we're going to see some additional stimulus come into the economy. Well, the people who are most likely to get stimulus are going to be small business owners and individuals with median incomes who are going to be using the Cash App that Square has. If this $1,400 stimulus does come in, we could see people buying Bitcoin, or we could see them buying shares of companies through the Cash App as well. This could be a big push for Square because they are obviously big believers of Bitcoin and they have access to that on their Cash App. The second people that are going to benefit from this the most are small business owners. As the economy continues to reopen, as we get vaccine rollouts, as people start to get back to their normal way of life, we're going to see a lot of small businesses come back to the market. These small businesses are going to open up, or they're going to need capital in order order to open up and be able to continue with their business. This leaves Square in a great position because they've got Square Capital to help provide loans to these small businesses, and they're going to help these small businesses produce even more transactions year over year. In fact, just recently, experts are saying, hey, we might be at the peak of the current virus outbreak. This current surge that we've seen, we might be at the peak of that, and cases might go back down, which may allow lockdowns and restrictions to loosen, which then could allow more small businesses to open back up and continue doing business. Next up, let's talk a little bit more about Cash App, because Cash App, I think, in my opinion, is going to be one of Square's biggest revenue generators. And to be honest, until just recently, I had never used Cash App. I'd never downloaded the app or had anybody say, hey, do you have Cash App so I can send you some money? We always used Venmo. That's probably the most popular one, at least in my area. That's what everybody seems to have. But I think Cash App is quickly gaining steam because they do have the ability to purchase crypto, and they do have the ability to purchase stocks, and they've got some other features on there that are actually really cool. And the Cash App, is competing with Venmo, and it's more accessible for small businesses and for individuals alike. Cash App is growing so rapidly that I actually wanted to pull this up here on my phone and show you guys that it is now #1 on the top chart for finance apps. It actually beats out Robinhood, it beats out PayPal, and Venmo, which is in 4th position. Let's actually click on this and take a look at what the ratings are. So they currently are sitting at 997,000 ratings with an average star rating of 4.7. That's actually pretty dang good. If we go and compare to Venmo, which is at 11 million ratings, over 10x, 11x basically, at a 4.9 star rating, you can see that Venmo obviously has a big lead with this, but the Cash App is growing in popularity and is going to quickly gain a lot of steam. The revenue that's coming from Cash App is actually pretty significant. If we actually open the app here, you can see that you do have the option to purchase Bitcoin. You've got the option to get a cash card, which is a free card, and they also do these bonus options that give you, DoorDash, 10% off each order, Lyft, 1% or $1 off each ride. They've got a card that's built in here, so you might not even need your credit card when you go to pay for something. They've also got the option to pay and request for money transfers, and then they've got the option to buy stock and buy Bitcoin through their platform here. So this is kind of like an all-in-one platform, which is actually really cool. I really like that about Cash App, and I think that Cash App, because they have those two services in one, I think it's going to attract a lot of people, especially the younger generation who's just getting into saving money or transferring money or using the stock market or is very bullish on Bitcoin. A lot of people are going to be using Cash App for those reasons, and I think that's why it's going to have an upper hand over Venmo. There's actually a link down in the description below. If you want to sign up for the Cash App, you can use my referral link there, and we're both going to get $10 for free. So Cash App, I think, has a very bright future, and we're going to talk about the financials of that here in just a minute. Next, I want to talk about the potential massive S&P 500 inclusion that Square may see at the end of 2021. Unfortunately, you do have to have at least 4 quarters of profitability in order to be included in the S&P 500, and with Q2, with the pandemic in 2020, the Square was not able to achieve profitability for that quarter, and so they were able to break back to profitable in Q3 and profitable in Q4. We're expecting them to be profitable in Q1 and 2 of 2021, and if they're able to do that, there's a very good chance they could be eligible for S&P 500 inclusion near the end of the year, sometime in that second half of the year, probably, I would say Q4 of 2021. I think that could see another massive run up. It's going to provide a lot of stability. It's going to provide a lot of clout for the company, and it's going to basically give them the ability to say, hey, look, we're a player in this space. We know what we're doing. We can achieve profitability, and we're here to stay. And I think that could push the stock even higher with a run up, just like we saw with Tesla. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised to see a pretty big run up of, 20, 30, 40, 50% after this is announced, if it does get announced, right? We're just kind of looking into the future, and I think there's a pretty good possibility that could actually happen. All right, next up, I just want to talk about the financials just a little bit. Next up, I want to talk a little bit about financials because their gross profit for Q3 of 2020 was actually up over 59% year over year. Let's jump into my computer and actually take a look at this here together. So you can see here on their shareholder letter that they sent out, gross profit was at $794 million in Q3, which is up massively from where it was in Q2. It was kind of stagnant. If you look at Q3, Q4 of 2019, it increased, yeah, but not very much. I mean, from 500 to 527 and then to 539, not massive increases. But then we did see a bigger increase into quarter 2 despite the pandemic, and now it jumped up again over 200 million, or roughly 200 million in quarter 3. I think there's a pretty good chance it could jump up again when quarter 4 earnings come out. Now, that also being said, seller gross profit was up. Cash App gross profit was up massively. I mean, look at this growth here with the Cash App. It was at 183 million in quarter 1, 281 million in quarter 2, and 385 million in quarter 3. Over $100 million increase on the Cash App gross profit. Net revenue was up massively as well. Look at this. Quarter 1, same thing. You know, if we actually jump back over here and look at the gross profit versus the total net revenue, quarter 3, quarter 4, and quarter 1 here, it was like small increases, 1.27, 1.31, 1.38, and then we saw, you know, a bigger jump here to quarter 2, and then we saw a massive jump over here on quarter 3, you know, almost, not double, but, you know, jumped up 50%, which is pretty insane. Next, I want to come down here. We're going to talk about the Square card spend. I think this is an important metric because you can see that in quarter 3, there was over $250 million spent on the Square card, and you can see this great growth line here. I think as more people download the Cash App, more people will get the Square card, and more people will continue spending on that, generating revenue for Square. Coming down here a little bit further, you can see that daily actives are also increasing. In quarter 3 of 2018, it was 15%. Quarter 3, it was 18%. Now quarter 3 of 2020 is at 23%. I would not be surprised to see this increase further, especially when you have like Bitcoin or stocks. It's kind of addicting to like get onto that app, you know, daily and maybe move some money around or buy something or sell something. You know, a lot of people I think will be doing that on a more regular basis, on a daily basis, and could have that temptation to, you know, get on every single day, which could lead them to, you know, generating more revenue again for Square. And on that point, I should say that I could see Square being a competitor to SoFi's system and what they have in the fintech space, but I think that's a topic for another video. So again, looking at total revenue real quick, quarter 3 was at 3.03 billion. I think this is going to be even higher in quarter 4 as we got into the holidays, as we got stimulus checks coming through. I think we're going to see, you know, increased revenues on quarter 4 and quarter 1 here in 2021 for this number. Gross profit, I also expect to go up. And with that, I've kind of got to look at this and say, okay, how much of this is actually going to be baked into the share price already? The market cap is at 100 billion, which is pretty high, but I think there's room for it to go even higher. It's hard to tell how much is baked into the share price already, but I've got to look at this and say, do I think it could go even higher? And I think the answer is yes. I think this is a game-changing company that is around and is going to stick around, you know, breaking into small businesses even more, attracting a lot of people who are getting stimulus checks and interested in the stock market or Bitcoin. You know, I think there's a lot of things that Square is doing right that is attracting new customers to the platform, and I think those customers are going to stick around. So with all that being said, guys, thank you so much for watching. Let me know what your thoughts are on Square. Drop a comment down below. I'd love to hear it. Consider sharing this video with a friend or family member who might also be interested in Square. And with that said, I'll catch you guys in the next one.